A terror arrest here in Western New York. This video you saw first on 7 Eyewitness News this morning of police and federal agents raiding a home where the suspect lived with relatives. Now let's take a look at that suspect. Here is a picture. 44-year-old Arafat Naji. Authorities say he traveled overseas to Turkey where he tried to join ISIS. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Joanna Passeri, 7 Eyewitness News. I'm coming to you live from the Lackawanna neighborhood where this all went down very early this morning. We're on Alcott Street. And the house involved here is 151 Alcott Street. It is the cream-sided house a few doors down here. And you can see this neighborhood is brimming with young children, seemingly unaware of what happened here this morning. The suspect in this case has been on the radar for police for more than a year. Agents working to collect enough evidence made this arrest today. They took bagfuls of evidence out of the house today. This story is developing on many fronts tonight. That home where the raid took place, 151 Alcott Street. Authorities say the man was a serious threat to this community here in Western New York. And 7 Eyewitness News reporter Hannah Buehler is here now with the latest on the investigation for us. Hannah?
Well, Joanna, it's something the community has been through before, but 13 years ago with the Lackawanna 6, yet this kind of the same, kind of different, and that's what we're getting from people in this neighborhood. This time, police arresting one man who they say is acting alone, 44-year-old Arafat Naji. He is a United States citizen, but he's accused now of supporting ISIS, traveling overseas to support ISIS, and using his social media accounts, namely Twitter, to recruit Western New York and Lackawanna people to support ISIS. The FBI says they've been on to Naji for more than a year. They've been watching his every move, including his 2 trips to Turkey and 1 to Yemen. We received a 28-page criminal complaint from the FBI that I've been sifting through all day. It says that Naji provided materials to ISIS and, of course, tried to recruit people to fight for ISIS. He's also accused, as I mentioned, to trying to lure Americans, even people here in Lackawanna, to the terrorist group. And police say he would use his Twitter account to share his radicalized ideals.
Substantial amount of information was provided by members of the Lackawanna community. This information included allegations that Naji espoused violent jihad and that he did constitute a threat to those of us in the United States.
A big part in this investigation focused on items that Naji purchased on eBay, including gloves with brass knuckles, military-type outfits, body armor, a burn kit, a machete. That's just some of the items that is alleged in that 28-page criminal complaint. I asked United States Attorney Bill Hochul if he's acting alone. Do we have to worry about anything here? Are there other people acting with him? He wouldn't specifically answer my question on that, but did say all options are possible, but at this time, the investigation focusing on Naji. United States Attorney Bill Hochul focused a lot on thanking the Lackawanna community here because they came forward, Joanna, with a lot of information about him. They said if you see something, say something, and they thought his actions were kind of suspicious. They say he would talk about jihadist beliefs to people and his radicalized ideology, and that was odd and alarming to people, kind of raised some red flags.
Yeah, of course. Now, we know he bought all this military combat gear, but we don't know what he was planning to do with it, correct?
Correct. And you know, and you can see on our website we have a detailed list of all of that military gear, and what investigators aren't sure of is if he actually got that gear through customs and with him while he traveled to Turkey and Yemen. That's something that they wouldn't answer because a lot of those items are not, of course, allowed by the TSA.
All right. Hannah Buehler, thanks so much for everything today. The arrest here in Lackawanna, of course, reaction coming in fast and furious. And tonight, area veterans and local politicians responding to this. Let's go now back to the studio. 7 Eyewitness News reporter Ed Riley has more on that part of the story.
Well, Joanna, this morning there was a special memorial dedication in Orchard Park to honor all those who have served in America's armed forces. And that includes the men and women who have been part of the global war on terror. But it turned out the ceremony took place at the same time as the FBI announced the terror arrest in Lackawanna. And that generated a number of strong opinions.
Terrorism is a lot closer than we think. and we got some bad news this morning. And we have to be resilient, and we're going to fight people, whether it's on foreign land or here. They're not going to win.
For the dignitaries, politicians, and family members who gathered at Chestnut Ridge Park, this was a special morning to dedicate the first and only Blue Star Memorial marker in an Erie County park. The marker is meant to honor all members of our nation's armed forces, past, present, and future. And the events in Lackawanna were very much on the minds of all those in attendance.
It scares me. It scares me. I think they're getting closer and closer.
A large number of veterans were also present.
Glad the person got caught, and I'm hoping that there's more in the pipeline.
The war on terror is now in its 14th year, and the threat from groups like ISIS is very real.
I think with the internet, I think that there's a threat there.
You don't know where to go, what to do anymore. You go to a major fundraiser, you don't know if they're going to blow something up.
Former Lackawanna teacher Margaret McLaughlin believes she had the suspect Arafat Naji in school.
Upsets me because, you know, we've been so gracious to these people, and some of them have been wonderful, but when you hear something like this, to me it's just very upsetting.
But not surprising, say many here who still remember the FBI breaking up the terror cell known as the Lackawanna 6 in 2003.
And I don't think that when those 6 were arrested that the problem went away.
But Erie County Executive Mark Poloncarz warns everyone not to judge the entire Lackawanna Yemeni Arabic population by the actions of one person.
This is not representative of them. Most of these individuals are born in this country. They're Americans. They believe in our Constitution. They believe in our way of life.
But a lot of people now believe there should be stepped-up security in the area where Naji lived. And coming up at 6 p.m., we'll hear what officials think and how they plan to apply the lessons they learned after the arrest of the Lackawanna 6. We'll send it back to Joanna in the field in Lackawanna.